Okay, 7th graders, here's where we left off on the other day. We were looking at the matching worksheet where we were matching isometrics to orthographic projection. And what you see on the screen right now is the example for number 2. So if I click over here on part 2 and I swing that around, you see the 3D model, and then you also see it in the presentation drawing. Now what I showed you last time was how to switch out your views so that you could change your front view to something you selected versus where you actually had drawn the front view as a 2D sketch. I will look at number 3, and then if time allows, I will go on to number 4 as well. And maybe we'll look at adding some measurements to these, and then some dimensions and some annotations, so we learn a little bit more about this program as we're working through things. So let's look at number 3 right here. Again, we're going to have that similar feature of a block letter L that's extruded out, and then we'll make a couple of cuts in it so that we can try and match it up with what's on the right column here in orthographic projection. So this is what we're looking at right here. We're going to create that in Autodesk Inventor. We're going to convert it into a presentation drawing, and then we will try and match it up precisely on our worksheet. So I'm going to go back to Inventor, and I'm going to go New, Standard IPT, Create. Let's try something a little different today. Let's look at things kind of as we did with our cube. So we have some precise measurements, and then we'll cut some things out. So I'm going to click on the pencil. I'm going to click on the front plane. And instead of making a block letter L, I'm going to start with a rectangle like I did for my dice. And I'm going to go 1, tab 1, enter. Let me drag my browser over to this side. That's pretty traditional. Click on the front. I'm going to go finish sketch. Little house on the view cube. And I'm going to extrude that to 1 inch. Okay. Again, let's take a different approach here that we did the other day. Let's go with the right side view. That's where we're going to put our block letter L in. So we're going to click on the pencil. We're going to click on our right side here. Let's use a rectangle. And let's make that measurement 0.6, tab 0.6, enter. Let's go finish sketch. Little house. We'll go to extrude. And we've learned how to extrude cuts. So let's extrude this as a cut. There we have our block letter L. Now what I like about this is when I click on the front view, that's the profile, the front view I want. And when I click on the right view, that's the profile, the right view I want based upon what we have on that handout. Let's look at number 3 on our handout again. Whoops, wrong handout. There we go. All right, we have the same cutout here in this area, and then we have a slice off the back. So let's do what we're used to first. So I'm going to cut the center out here. I'm going to notch that. So I'm going to click on the pencil, and I'm going to click where I'm going to notch that. And I'm going to use rectangle. Let's look at what we have here. Maybe we can work in some precise measurements. So if this is 1 long, let's do this. Let's make our rectangle. Let's go and dimension it. So I'm going to dimension it so that it is 1/2 inch. Let's do 0.25, 1/4 inch here. And let's do a 1/4 inch on this side. That means the middle is going to be 1/2 inch. Let's see what this dimension is. 0.357. Let's make this 3/8. Let's see what it looks like. All right. I like that because we might go into our presentation drawing and annotate it with some dimensions. Annotating means we're adding some notes, and it'll have some measurements in there, so it kind of makes sense. Let's go extrude. We're going to extrude this as a cut. All right. Now going back to our handout, we have a slice off the back there. And I'd say it looks like a third of it's missing. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go back to Inventor. We're going to take out a third of it here. We're going to click on the pencil. Click where we're going to cut that out. We're going to use rectangle. And I'm just going to do corner to corner first. But then I'm going to go over here to dimension. And from this distance across, I'm going to make this 1/3. So we're actually taking out a third of that. Finish sketch. And then we'll extrude this as a cut. All right, so here's our object here. Looks pretty good so far. We're going to save this as part 3. So I'm going to go save as. Part 3, IPT. Saving it in my folder. I'm going to replace an older part 3 that I've had, so I don't have too many files jumping up. Now we can go New, Standard ITW, and Create. I should already have the front view I want because that's how I set it up. I do have my browser menu open. I showed you how to open that if you had lost it. And so here I'm going to right-click on Sheet, and I'm going to edit Sheet. Because our printer does 8.5 by 11, and this defaults to a sheet size of C, which is 17 by 22. I'm going to switch that to A. Now we have 8.5 by 11. And I'll click OK. Let's go to Base and see what our sizes look like. That looks like it's going to work fine. So let's drag our control box out of the way. So I'm going to click in my front view. I'm going to click in my top view. I'm going to go to my right side view. I'm going to click a 4th time up here for my isometric. And I'm going to right click to create my working drawing. Let's see how close that is to what we did on our matching exercises. I do see some hidden lines here. I'm wondering if those are going to be an issue. So we go to matching. And let's try and figure out what the closest one is going to be. Looks like it's going to be letter F. It does have the 2 hidden lines there. Mine are very similar to that, but I believe that it doesn't show up on one of those. So it's pretty accurate. It's not totally accurate because we weren't looking at any set measurements on the matching worksheet. One thing that I wanted to show you, though, because we'll be using this in other activities, is the annotations. I wanted to get you familiar with those. If I go up here to Annotate, and I go over here to Dimension, you're going to find out that this looks a lot like what you've used in 2D Sketch. I'm going to place these dimensions between the views. I'm going to click OK. Point to point. I'm going to drag that down. And we don't want the dimensions set up on top of each other, but we want them between the views. Click OK there as well. Click this point to that point, and keep those between the views. Now we have overall length. If you added up those decimals, that would give you 1 inch. Remember that? Let's go this point to here. That's going to be 0.40. So what do you think this one's going to be from here to here? If you guessed 0.6, you were right. Let's do just a couple more. Let's do from here to there for our width. And the last one here should give us 0.4. Now you'll see in most instances I place those dimensions between the views. I try not to repeat any. This is for width and this is for height. Even though they look like they're repeating, it's 2 different dimensions, width and height. However, if you remember, I started this out as a 1x1 cube. So that's how those things added up. So I hope you found this video informational for number 3. I hope it helps you out with those matching exercises. And also, it should get you familiar with annotating with dimensions. That's going to be important when we start doing some of our bigger projects like the pegboard toy and the candy dispenser that we'll make in the wood shop. So until next time, good luck.